Hello there, and welcome to Perspectives with Nilo. A few months ago, I was fortunate to revisit Taiwan after a long interlude. Taiwan, also known as the Republic of China, is situated in the West Pacific between Japan and the Philippines. It's a country of about 36,000 square kilometres, less than half the size of Ireland, but with a population of about 24 million people. Not surprisingly then, it's more populous than 3/4 of the world's nations, and like most countries in the world, there's an Irish community here. The Taiwan Celts GAA Club was founded in 1995 and was the first GAA club to be set up in Asia. Since then, many GAA clubs have sprung up across the region, and in early October they all got together in Kuala Lumpur to compete in the annual Asian Gaelic Games Tournament. I tracked down the Taiwan Celts at one of their training sessions in Taipei prior to the Asian Gaelic Games to talk about the club history, the upcoming games and life in Taiwan. I first talked to Chris Walsh from County Mayo and asked him how the Taiwan Celts GAA got started.
Yeah, so the GAA team was founded in 1995, so it was the first Gaelic football team in Asia. So it was a couple of guys who came over on a FOSS program actually as engineers. And while they were here, they were playing soccer and they were playing American football and they were meeting up with friends from different parts of the world and playing different sports, and they were saying it'd be great to have a Gaelic football team. So they gave it a go and they started out just 4 or 5 of them in a park, and then they got some other foreigners to join and some Taiwanese, and then they were like, well, why stop here? So they knew a couple of other guys in Japan and they asked them if they were interested to start a team, and they did. So then I think it was in the following year, 96, they decided they'd host an Asian tournament. So I think that was in Manila, and there was only a handful, 3 or 4 teams there. So and it's grown from there. I mean, now 25 years later, there's 1,000 odd people who show up every year to the tournament in different cities in Asia. I think last time we were there was around 60 teams, from the different countries. So men's and women's tournaments. So yeah, it's an amazing tournament now, and it's kind of like the showpiece for the Irish in Asia, I suppose. Yeah.
And here, this team here in Taiwan is obviously there's more than Irish people on it. It's from the accents and the faces.
Yeah, 100%. So we don't have the luxury. If you go to the bigger diaspora like Singapore, Shanghai, they'll be predominantly Irish. Although the ladies' teams tend to be mixed. For us, I'd say we've about 90 members, maybe 70 playing members, and maximum 20% of that are Irish. Again, particularly on the ladies' side. We have locals, we have Americans, Canadians, Australians. We tend to get athletes that, from maybe contact sports like rugby, American football. We have Weston here. We've got Matt from Canada, Ryan, who's a basketball player. So it's very easy for those guys to adapt to the skills. And with the ladies, it's a big social outlet. You don't get the same choice in terms of the sports. So again, we get really talented ladies, basketball, rugby, and ladies that just come down and want to try for the first time. So it's amazing.
Well, I never played football in Ireland. I think I tried in school, but I wouldn't play unless they found pink football boots. So I gave up after that. But I found them. But I know it's the way to go when you're Irish abroad. Like, I knew that from Beijing. Like, you just have to get involved in it. So the moment I arrived here, I looked up Taiwan Celts. I'd actually met a few of them before at different football games in Asia. But my first training session, I was just like, God, we as Irish are so lucky to have this, because you just constantly have a family. And after 3 years, these are my people. We're so close, and I look forward to every Tuesday, every Sunday. But I never would have played football if it wasn't for Taiwan.
I love it. I really love football. Gaelic football it's a great sport. So I used to watch football, and I used to go to the stadium back in Chile. But watching Gaelic football is way more fun. Yeah, I wish everyone could know about Gaelic football, to be honest.
And how about the people on the team? Are they fun to play with and hang out with?
It's a good crack. Yes.
I'm Prentice. I'm from Hong Kong. Yeah.
Okay. And you play football with the Taiwan Celts?
Yeah, it's kind of new football to me. Yeah, Gaelic football just for 2.5 years, something like that.
Okay. Did you know about the game before you joined the Taiwan Celts?
Honestly, no. I was really surprised by the rules of the game, everything about the game. Yeah.
And do you like it?
Yeah, I like it because I think the pace is very fast and it's very exciting. And it requires a lot of teamwork. That is great. Yeah.
So we train twice a week. So Sundays and Tuesday nights. So yeah, I try to get down most nights if I can. But I was actually playing with Hong Kong for the last 5-6 years as well. So you know it's kind of a different setup there. Hong Kong is very much centred around Irish players. Whereas here you can see there's a mix of all different nationalities, just as the Irish base here is much smaller. But the great thing about this setup is that it gets so many different people involved in the club. All different nationalities, many locals play as well. So I've been to the Asian Games. Well, the last one was in 2019, but I've been going every year since 2015. So yeah, I think the last one I was at I think there was over 20 clubs represented. So yeah, there's quite a lot, and many of those clubs would have 3 or 4, sometimes 5 teams playing. So you've got the senior level, and then down lower you've got many clubs who are only local-based players, which is amazing to see local-based players just playing GAA. It's fantastic to see.
It's almost like a trip home. It's just a weekend of Irish accents, a weekend of Irish humour, and then even to see like the local players on our team, and particularly like local players in Kuala Lumpur and stuff, just like soloing a ball up the field, like it's madness to see, and it makes you feel such a feeling of pride. So yeah, we're all involved in it and we're all really excited for it.
And how would you describe Taiwan to people in Ireland who like maybe have heard the name but don't know much about it?
Like I always say, it's like the best little secret in the world, because I feel like not many people know about it, and I feel so lucky to have stumbled upon this little island, because if it wasn't for that little random trip I would have never discovered it. But it's, in a sense, like I find the culture very similar to Ireland in terms of like kind of banter, fun, like the people are very relaxed, friendly. It's a small island. Ireland is obviously a small island, so people are more, you know, open-minded and more curious and chatty, and like that shows when you leave the capital and you go down south or to the west even, and all that, just the same as Ireland. Like people are more curious and chatty. So I'd actually say would be very similar to Ireland, but obviously just the weather is a bit of a killer. So in that way it's different, but that brings all the positive things, like you're surfing in the middle of the winter, like, and snorkeling, and you can hike, like you can do absolutely everything here.
Well, I'll tell you what the Taiwanese say. They always talk about convenience. So in every corner there's a 7-Eleven. It's all about, it's a country about the size of Munster, so half the size of Ireland, with 24 million people. So everything is concentrated. You know, obviously there's a whole lots of cultural stuff going on behind the scenes, but I think in general, the people are generally welcoming. So convenience and welcoming, I would say.
Is it a safe place?
In terms of like petty crime, 100%. I mean, you can ask any of our ladies. You know, we have a ladies team as well. They would have no fear in going out any time of the day or night. You know, I mean, there's an underbelly like in any place, but in general for petty crime, it's fantastically safe. Yeah.
It's very much known, I think, more for like the high tech stuff like chips and all that. But obviously there's a lot more to it than that. So yeah, first of all would be the people are just like unbelievably friendly here. I would describe it as like a mix between kind of mostly like Chinese culture, and there's a bit of Japanese mixed in there as well. But like everybody probably knows about the food here. It's unbelievable. The infrastructure here is amazing too, especially coming from Ireland, where we have the old cliches of the bus running once every hour or something like that. Here it's like you're spoiled for choice, and it's like roughly half the size of our country, so it's amazing kind of what they've actually set up infrastructure wise. So like obviously public transport here is dirt cheap compared to anywhere in the world.
Taiwan has been in the news a lot lately back in Ireland after Nancy Pelosi's visit, and then of course the Chinese military drills around the island. And when I told people I was coming here, and I might be talking to some people, the question that was most to the front of their minds was, is it safe with all that stuff going on?
Yeah, I mean, I guess coming back to my point about petty crime, I think day to day, this has been going on for decades, right? So you can see it yourself. I mean, we're out here on a rugby pitch, and it's life as normal. When you go out in the streets, I don't think there's any apprehension. It has been very front and centre in the media. So anytime you switch on the news at the moment, it's there. But I think, and to be honest, it's more in conversation now than it ever has been. But I think day to day, it's just, it's like, I guess let's put it like it was in the Republic of Ireland when the Troubles were going on. We knew what was going on, but it wasn't a serious impact on day to day. Which you can have an opinion on that, was that good or bad, but that's basically how Taiwan is at the moment too.
I mean, I remember sitting on the bus when I saw like the first missile notice thing. Some like 3 people from Ireland linked me it, and I looked around at all the local Taiwanese and they were all just playing like Candy Crush on their phone, and I was there like looking at the breaking news, like panicking, and then I just saw everyone was so normal. Like nobody talks about it, which to be honest can be a bit frustrating when you're hearing so much from home and you're like, what's actually going on? But until they worry, I won't.
I mentioned the GAA was started in 1995, and I read the notes when they set up the club. They have the notes on our website, and during that they were talking about how China was threatening invasion at the time, and there was a lot of so this has been going on for a long time. Of course it's worrying, but we're all doing okay here and feeling very safe, and life is good at the moment.
The government in Ireland have been, very supportive of Ukraine, for example, in the Russian invasion. But you don't hear very much from them at all on Taiwan. Like Irish people here, do they get support from the Irish government?
Yeah, listen, when I first came over, I think you mentioned it, Niall, there used to be a trade office which has closed. So, I mean, I guess if you go to any country in the world, people would tell you that they'd like more support, right? I mean, there's embassies in mainland China and in Beijing that for consular purposes and for visa purposes we go to. But yeah, in terms of on the ground, I guess the support is quite limited.
We're probably lacking in Asia compared to other countries in that we don't have embassies in a lot of these places, or we don't have representation. So the GAA kind of takes the place of that in a lot of these countries and cities. Like for us here, for example, we don't have an embassy or a trade office, but we do have a GAA team, and we host St. Patrick's Day events and tournaments, and we've got people from lots of Taiwanese who join the club, but also from all over the world, and I suppose this is their experience of Ireland and Irish people joining the GAA.
And not having the local embassy or trade office, does that present problems for people here at times?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, for Irish people doing business here, it's more difficult without the trade office, of course. But for us living here, we don't. It's difficult for even just consular stuff to get access. We go to Beijing, and obviously that creates its own problems given the challenges between China and Taiwan at the moment. So yeah, it is challenging, and it's something we're regularly reaching out to the Irish government about, and trying to get a little bit more support. Now we do get the GAA team here. We get a lot of support from Department of Foreign Affairs and also through the GAA. So they have a joint grant every year, which they provide us with funding for the club, and it's the club wouldn't survive without it. It's a huge help. So on that side, they do a lot to promote and help us. But of course, on the consular side or on the business side, it is more difficult without the representation.
I mean, any Taiwanese business that would want to connect with Ireland, right? There's no visible way to do it for them either.
No, there's not, and I mean we're one of the few European Union countries that don't have that. So it is a shame, and it's something we'd love to see in the future, and it's something we're all working on and trying to promote. But I think we're probably a long way off from that right now with everything that's going on in the world.
Yeah. Would you recommend Irish people to come here for a visit or a holiday?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, my wife is Taiwanese. I had my family over 10 years ago when I got married, so it's a. And again, we were discussing this the other day. It's a little bit off the beaten track, but I'll throw in there's flights Eva Air to Bangkok, and you can get a very reasonable connection into Taiwan. So it's an amazing place to visit. I mean, fascinating, and the scenery. I mean, you have 100 peaks over, I don't know what it is, 2,000 meters or something. When you say that to the Carrantula is 1,000 meters. So the topology, the people, the food, it's a fantastic place to visit. Yeah.
And do the Taiwan Celts have any plans to visit Ireland in the future?
So one of the founders actually was Derek Brady. So he was a young Irish guy from Bohermeen in County Meath. So he came, and with a couple of others they set up the club here. But Derek was actually tragically killed in a car accident here in Taiwan the following year. So just after they'd set up the Asian Games. So we were hoping to have a 25th anniversary tournament for Derek last year, but we had to cancel it because of COVID. So this year we're going to try to just remember him at the games, the Asian Games in October next month. And we're also hoping to bring a Taiwan team to Ireland to play against his local club, Bohermeen, at some point in the next 2 years. So if anyone out there wants to sponsor the cause, feel free to reach out to us at the Taiwan Celts. You can reach us on Facebook or through Instagram or any of the usual channels.
That's Chris Walsh winding up our report on the Taiwan Celts GAA team. And my thanks also to Mick McCannon, Rebecca Nugent, Ling Hernandez, Prentice from Hong Kong, David Horgan, and everyone else I spoke to during the visit. I'm also happy to report that the Taiwan Celts won the Men's Junior Cup at the Asian Games in Kuala Lumpur back in October. So many congratulations to all involved. We're looking forward to hearing lots more from them in the future. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to follow our blog at pwnilo.com. That's pwneilo.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at pwnilo. Again, that's pwneilo. Until the next time, thank you for listening. Slán ag Spanacht.